It's the start of a new month, always loads to talk about here on Boro Fan TV. Welcome to the Monday night social at the Longlands Club. Join me tonight are A.J.T and Guesty.
Yes. Hello James, mate.
Hello Boro fans.
You okay?
Evening everybody.
So, past week has seen progress to the last 16 of the League Cup. We've earned a date with Crystal Palace at the Riverside. And then following this, a side and a line-up that we're more accustomed to went to Hull and passed up the opportunity to go top of the league on Saturday following a 1-1 draw with the Tigers. As always, Boro fans, we'd love your opinions and views. Are you happy with the progress made so far this season? And what, if any, areas do the coaching staff need to make changes to? It's another busy week on the fixture front. We go to Ipswich tomorrow night before Aitor Karanka returns to the Riverside with Nottingham Forest at the weekend. And what do you make of the new third kit? £75 a pop, it went on sale today. What do you make of that? The man on the tablet tonight is A.J.T again, so get your views in. Let us know about the fixtures that have gone, what's coming up, and obviously about the Boro kit. So lads, let's get this show on the road. First of all, Preston last week, Guesty, League Cup. Tony Pulis made 11 changes to the side, and we still made it through to the next round. What caught your eye on the night?
Last week, the game... What I can remember, what I seen of the game, obviously I was away on holiday. Yeah. So the only thing I've seen of that game, James, is that goal.
Oh, Tav's goal. Oh, the Fletcher goal, right? Yeah.
Tav's goal,
right, yeah.
Fletcher's goal, to me, shows what we missed on Saturday. Yeah. The vision, the movement. There was so much movement in that goal. Yeah. It just shows you what we do have available. Yeah. And, you know...
It was just a great move. I mean, if teams such as Man City or Arsenal had put something together like that, that would have been on...
all over the place, and all sorts.
And that's our second string, apparently, that. They put that together.
What impressed me was just the bodies moving in different directions. There was no one static, i.e. like on Saturday. Yeah. You know, it was so methodical, robotic, if you like, on
Saturday. We've said on a number of shows, and this isn't blowing anyone's trumpet or anything like that, but we've been crying out for the likes of Lewis Wing, Marcus Tavernier to get an opportunity, and those two lads were at the forefront of a lot of good things last week, weren't they?
You only have to look at our results in August up till the transfer window, till the international break, with them players in the squad on the bench. Yeah. From the signings coming in, from what looked like a really good, strong bench, but to a quite negative first 11, and there's no flair. And the flair, little bit of flair that we did have, or do have, was on the bench on Saturday. Was on the bench on Saturday. So I'm sorry about Preston because, like you say, I was in a forest, so there wasn't much chance of me seeing it. No, I was under orders off the missus to keep away from football.
We always have to keep the better halves happy, don't we? Keep them on side. But yeah, mate, you were there. Yeah. Tav's goal as well. We've talked about the first goal there for Ashley Fletcher, which again, he's doing well in the League Cup this year. I mean, that's 3 goals he's scored in 3 League Cup matches now, Ashley Fletcher. But Tav's strike, that was something special, wasn't it?
How often have you seen this season a player pick up the ball from outside the box and push it inside the top corner? You know, we don't see that often. Like I say, you know, it's one of them. But listen, he's for me one of our most talented kids at the club. Is Marcus Tavernier. Yeah. Like I say, sorry, that's probably
you'll get that, Busby, all right.
Cheers for that. Nobody with a number on the phone there. Frank calling me. But listen, no, away from that vibrating in my pocket there, mate. Honestly, like I say, when my head can actually think back to it. Listen, I thought Preston. You know, when you see the lineup, you know it's the kids, and go from the first goal. Guess you were saying then, it just shows you the quality of these kids and the link-up play we're getting. And for me, when we seen Tavern Wing come out with the first team on Saturday training and warming up with them, you think, what's the point in that if they're not even going to bother playing? Yeah. You know what I mean?
It's not just Tavern Wing. You've also got, like James has just said, you've got to look at Fletcher. He scored 3 goals in the games which he's played.
I feel like he's goal scorer at the minute. He's not even getting a look in.
And I mean, in fairness, that game last week, we made 11 changes. If you look at Preston, they only made 3 changes, so that was very much like their first team. They really went for it there last week, and yet we still came away with a positive result. And Preston, doesn't matter when you play them or what form they're in, it's always a tough place to go to, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, deep there. Same, man. I think, we went there last season, took the lead and we were 2-1 down by that time.
Got battered, didn't we, in the first half?
Came back and won the game, but as you said, it's tough home all the way. I think, You know, we drew 0-0. I think it was Riverside, wasn't it? First
yes,
time
we did. Yeah, they could have won that game.
They had a good team, Preston. So like I said, to go there with the kids and get a result was excellent, really.
Like you say, that this cup run, that these kids have shown that they have the spirit and the guts, because we've been going behind in games, and they've had the, you know,
they're showing plenty of character,
they're
aren't
getting character to get us back into the game, and then win on penalties again.
Yeah, and again, there's a lot of players there who have been on the fringe or been first team players in the past. You like, so Grant Ledbetter, Paddy McNair came in as well that night. Danny Bart, he made his first start, didn't he? What did you make of his
I was impressed by Danny. I was, you know, I felt we've got a really good, if he's going to be cover, I think it's certainly a centre half that we can really trust to come in. And I think, just watching everything that came in the box, it was always him. It was him or Dale, to be fair.
Yeah.
That were just getting it. I mean, from what I felt a bit sorry for, because he had to often cover at times from McNair right back, which again I don't understand. But as a Danny Batt, I think really is really solid centre back we've got there.
Because we did come under a lot of pressure, especially in the second half, didn't we? In the last 20 minutes. But
I think it was Robinson who obviously got man of the match for them. They didn't think obviously he went on to miss his penalty after he got man of the match, but he was torturing us. You know, left or right side, and the main side they were getting was Paddy McNair's side, but of course he's playing right back, and I don't understand why on earth you put him at right back when he ain't a right back. That one that didn't make sense to me. That one.
Again, it's like something I think we've all said before as well. It's a case of trying to find positions for some of these players. It's getting them game time, and I think Paddy McNair's sometimes he's a bit of a victim of his own versatility, isn't he? And people will play him in lots of different positions. I read in the weekend that someone was saying he can play in the number 10 role, and you're thinking, where can this lad not play? Because it seems as though you're going to find anywhere to get him in the team. But and talking of like getting the victory at Preston, never mind fears that England fans might have about going to penalty shootouts. The Boro seem like somewhat totally.
Oh, we're German.
There's a bit of German blood in that team, isn't there?
Oh, we're definitely German.
8 out of 8 in 2 games now. That
unbelievable. Yeah, really good.
And you never know; it might come in the next round. Now, I mean,
Crystal Palace.
I mean, only 90 minutes to go to penalties, isn't it?
Which is a massive bonus to Borofantv. A nice home draw with all. There was some long journeys in that pod.
Yeah. Well, when Bournemouth came out again, I thought, not again. Don't want that again. But no, Palace at home. And what do you reckon of that game? I mean, here's a key question: what would you go with the team for that night? Would you go more first team players, or what is called first team, or would you give those young lads another try?
There's plenty of options in it. How serious is Roy taking it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like you say, how serious now is Tony Pulis going to take it?
Yeah.
So he's, in my eyes, I think you might see a couple more first teamers.
Yeah, I think you're right.
With the emphasis still on youth and a lot of changes, but we might see a few first team squad players in there.
We were talking, weren't we, on the way across here, when we play Palace, it's sandwiched between them playing Arsenal at home in the league and Chelsea away.
Well, I'd say that could force Hodgson's hand.
I think he might have to have all his big hitters ready for those 2 games, as opposed to against us. But no matter what team they put out, AJ, it's still going to be a good team, isn't it?
Yeah, listen, I think there's always one name that strikes my mind, and it's Wilfred Zaha.
Yeah.
You know, if he plays against our back line, especially against Josh Friend, we've seen what he did to him in the Premier League that time, and I just look at Palace and I think it's a good test for the kids, I think, because they're strong, they're a physical side. I think it really is a good test, but, you know, if you beat them, for me, I think then the kids go on leaps and bounds with confidence-wise.
And like you say, they're going on about Chelsea, Derby, Lampard, going back to Chelsea. It's one of Tony's old clubs, you know what I mean? You know, he'll definitely want to put one over on them when they took, because they took his bonus back off him.
He got the manager of the year job while he was at Palace, wasn't he, for what he did at Palace? Definitely, so it'll be a big game for him, and he'll want to do well. In light of that game last week at Preston, Grant Ledbetter came out after the game when he got interviewed, and he said that shows the strength of our squad, and it's one of the main reasons why we're favourites for promotion. Would you agree with him about the strength in the squad?
Yeah, I think in our squad alone in Boro's, there's strength there, but for me, there's other areas that do need strengthening. Yeah. And I had it out last night in my house with my brother and my dad, and I was, you know, pointing out different areas, and end up being in the end a massive debate about different players. But I do think, the squad's strong, but we do need to strengthen. Maybe in January, that's just how I see it personally.
Definitely agree with that, mate.
Shotton can't be our main. He can't be our main provider of crosses into the box. He's a full back, he's a centre back, and he's our only option to get the ball in the box at the moment because George Friend is just coming off his foot and going anywhere.
And that's not decrying what Ryan Shotton and George Friend are doing.
No.
They've been put in that position, haven't they?
Yeah.
Saturday nothing was coming off a Friend, was it? We were saying, weren't we?
That's no criticism of Shotton because I think he's been absolutely
outstanding. He's done very well this season, he has,
Since Traore's left and he's had that responsibility on that right side, he's been our main man for creating anything, do you know what I mean? But
Chatinho to call him.
Shot it in the York.
And that's just the throw-ins.
But when I think he's saying our squad is good, it's a good squad, and for me, Tuesday night proved it has depth as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Them people who we use Tuesday night are going to have to start and be trusted on a Saturday because it's a long time till January. There's a lot of games till January till we do get a couple of wide men in if possible. You know what I mean? So he does have to put a bit of faith in these players.
I think you're spot on there, mate, because how long do they become sick with, like, just thinking I'm only getting League Cup games here?
Well, Lewis Wing's, 24, 25? I know he's just come into the professional game, but he's got to be given a chance because he creates so much.
Tavernier is going to be there for me. Tavernier, I think Tav's going to be a proper wonderful player to watch.
Of course he is.
But I've trust in the kids. I say I just have trust in them.
Yeah. Well, you look at one of the teams. I know they lost at the weekend, but you've mentioned them there. Derby went to Man United and won last week, and there's a lot of young lads. Yes, the lads that are in on loan from, say, the likes of Chelsea and Liverpool, but Frank Lampard said, I'll give them game time. They might be only 19, 20 years old, but put them in there, and you don't learn if they're not playing. They need, some of these lads need a bit more game time.
That's my problem with the loan system. We've got all these players in on loan with, the potential to buy in January. So Pulis has brought them players in, or, as Pulis asked for these players, because you don't know what the situation is at the club.
Enough,
But he's then got to be seen to be giving these players game time. So then it's the likes of Wing and Tav and Fletcher who are suffering because Pulis has to stay loyal to his signings and either have them on the bench or in the starting 11. But the loanies, you know what I mean? And there's hunger and desire sat in row A in the West Stand wanting to play for the Boro. So
I think we'll touch on that in a moment about the game on Saturday at Hull. Have we got any things in from the viewers tonight, AJ?
I've got one of your pupils here. Kean come in and says, "Sir, why couldn't you cut my detention so short?"
Well, that's a debate for another programme, that, Kean, I'm afraid.
He also comes in.
He's keeping us back tonight, mate.
He also comes in and says to talk about the Ipswich game. I'll get into many more comments before, obviously, I should say afterwards anyway, but says Ipswich are a club in free fall, on and off the pitch. Need to get back to the system we were playing early on. Ever since Leeds went backwards.
Yeah, mate. Norwich were in free fall the other week. We played them. They haven't lost since.
Yeah,
they haven't
they've won 4 in a row, haven't they?
Someone agrees with Guesty. Nigel M1966 says 100% Guesty. Let's start utilising the squad.
It's common sense.
Yeah. Because it is a long season, and I don't think you can go through just playing the same. Because that was one element maybe of the performance on Saturday, which seems strange given that nearly the whole team was changed from Tuesday night. But there looked some sort of tiredness in the team on Saturday, or a lack of urgency, certainly
tiredness,
something.
Confusion. Like you say, there didn't seem to be
no
any
ideas,
pace whatsoever.
Ideas.
Yeah.
For the changes, with Ugal coming in for Braithwaite and McQueen coming in for Downing. Like you say, it looked on paper 4-4-2.
It certainly wasn't, though,
was it? It certainly wasn't, because we did have 2 left backs because McQueen was always alongside Friend. Whether that's just how he feels, it's just natural for him to be there. But when Friend did have the chance of the out ball to McQueen, he seemed more content to turn inside and pass it into the midfield rather than get the ball out wide. McQueen. It just looked so laboured, and it was hard work. But even when we did have the ball, it seemed to get caught under the player's foot. It was just one of them games, James.
It was. I mean, did you see it as a point gained or 2 lost? Go to you first with that.
It's 2 lost because we were 1 up. We were cruising, really, because they were. They created a couple of chances in the first half. If they'd have took them 2, we'd have went in
2 good chances early doors. That header definitely
fell over and the header. But once we'd scored, I thought, right, that's it. Scruffy 1-0 win.
And you take that.
And you'd be watching IR of the first half from where we were sat directly in front of us, and you're thinking, Daniel, there's no need to be doing things like that. You're going to get caught out one day. And he got caught the second half.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it is concerning at the moment, James. That's 5 games now, 1 win in 5 games, or two wins in 6.
Exactly the same as Leeds, isn't it? They've got one win in 5.
There's there's no goals going in that end, but there's no goals going in the end that matters, and it's everyone's caught us up now. West Brom we beat West Brom 1-0. Now they're above us. So these drop points like Swansea and Hull on Saturday, there's 4 points dropped. The teams below us, once they click with a better squad, the Aston Villas, and still can't discount Stoke. Them 4 points and the lack of goals, a massive come game 44, 45, 46.
Yeah, absolutely.
So does that concern you as well? You find that another 2 points dropped on Saturday?
Yeah, listen, it's 2 points dropped completely. I have to agree with Guesty and everything she said. You know, we are scoring goals, but as he says there, they're not putting us
We're not scoring goals.
You know, and when you come out of the game on Saturday, your eyes were third and teams catching us up, you kind of think to yourself, you know, inconsistent, and that's what I said to you. Inconsistency will cost us in this league if we don't sort ourselves out now. You know, you got to hit the ground running, and for me, we haven't done it. Since the international break, mate, I feel like we've gone backwards a bit.
It seems as though we've like a little bit stuck in a rut almost, aren't we?
People will be watching the show now saying, "Look at them, they're whinging. They're whinging. The joint second in the league."
Which is a fair point. We are joint second in the league.
When you go and sit and watch it, and you come out and you think, why are we still joint second? Why is Hull?
Is it too flattering to be up there? Is it too flattering to be there?
In the depths, they're in trouble. There's no one going watching them. The owners are ripping them off totally. They've got no desire, and they're taking points off us.
I was speaking to Hull fans,
I can't. There was 2,500, 3,000 there on Saturday, and I believe every person who came out that stadium on Saturday felt the same. Not one of them have come out and said, "Well, that was tell you what, you can't knock an away point."
Well, no,
you know what I mean?
I was speaking to Hull fans after the game, and they were saying, no disrespect, but we were expecting a lot more from you. And I'm like, so were we.
They're not just the same.
But it was. Same deal, it was just we got a point on Saturday. That's the only difference between really that performance and the Norwich one. I mean, for me, and I'm bringing it back now to the Preston game, that was largely a second-string team that went to Preston, who I think are a better team than Hull, actually. And they got a result. They more than held their own. Yet it doesn't matter what you say about how Hull set up and getting men behind the ball and making it hard to break down. I know they did that, but I just thought that performance on Saturday was just lacking in so many urgency, creativity, which is not the first time we mentioned it. And then people I know are saying that we're moaning and whinging about them, but like you say, I don't think anyone that was at that game could have come away thinking any differently about that on Saturday.
I don't believe anyone sat in a car, a coach, a train, going home, back to Teesside or wherever these Boro fans live, thought that was a good point. It's you know, it is a good point, but to physically watch it,
because you know there's bigger tests ahead, don't you? Yeah. Have we got anything more from the viewers there, mate?
Got a couple of things. Someone's pointed out the Mighty Red Car, so shout out to Daniel Stevenson who said A.J.T star appearance on the Mighty Red Car. That's quality. Shout out to yourself. A lot of people agree, saying that the kids do agree more of a chance. Just going to go back to a few at the top. We've got a few say hello. CB Gaming Vlog said hello to us.
Evening, CB.
Dean Chetwood, who's obviously, what's he called?
Tilford Teessider. All right, mate.
Bradley Foley, he said hello. Ipswich Town said hello.
Up the Terriers.
Dean said, I would like to see Fletcher in the side. CB Gaming Vlog says Tav, Wing and Fletcher could be that fair. I mean, it could be inside as well.
I don't think that's a bad shout because, I mean, at the end of the day, on Saturday, you went with maybe your 2 top strikers, what you class as your 2 top strikers, and I felt a little bit for Assombalonga and Hugill because I didn't get a great deal of service. And you could have the greatest centre-forwards in the world on that team on Saturday.
Hugill had a scrap and fight for every ball on Saturday. I said it on Saturday, he was more like a battering ram than a... Because he was playing,
and he does play that role well. He did that at Preston.
He was playing closer to the midfield, so I dare say he was classed as playing in the number 10 position. And he just fought and scrapped for every ball. It looked ugly, but like you say, that maybe that's the role he was put in there to play. But he got some hammer, so he'll give it back.
Daniel Stevenson said something quite interesting on Braithwaite. For me, Braithwaite has to start putting him up top instead of isolated out on the wing. What do you think of that?
I thought the changes when they came on Saturday, they did freshen the team up. I mean, Downing put in a great ball for that header, which Howson had saved right at the death.
Yeah.
And like you say, Braithwaite, just by his presence on the pitch, I certainly think in a game like that on Saturday, he should have been involved. And I know
it's like an Nigel Atkins must have thought, thank God.
Yeah.
Braithwaite's not starting.
Yeah, he is hit and miss, but then again, so many players in the Championship, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're not going to put in 9 out of 10 performances every week, are they?
While he's at our club, Braithwaite, he has to play every minute, or every minute till we're comfortable. Yeah. Do you know what I mean, James?
Yeah. I mean, Tony Pugh now in January, 'cause it's still 3 months away to get us through these next months, so we're still in touching distance at the top.
Like you say, we've been discussing there, we have youth, we have, like you say, Tav, we do have players in the squad to bring in and, to get us through to January. Yeah. Never know, might save us a fortune. Do you know what I mean? Because the kid's already there, Tav. Wing just seems to have that eye, that to pick that pass out.
He's got he's got legs in midfield that can get about midfield, and again and
he's creative, James. Do you know what I mean?
You don't knock that too much. You've got someone who can get about in midfield, because that unsettles the opposition as well. And I just think his presence in the team makes a big difference.
When you said the changes freshen the team up Saturday, did you feel as if it was too much alike, James? Did you feel we didn't have no pace, or we were going to struggle to get in and behind them?
Yeah, there wasn't a great deal of pace in the team, was there, really, on Saturday? I just think when Downing came on was a little bit more balanced, a little bit. When he gets the ball, whether it's by reputation or whatever it is, I think defenders sometimes take a step back and think, it's Stuart Downing I'm up against here now. Yeah. And he put in some great balls, which he's done in the past as well.
Because you talk to opposing fans, opposing coaches and managers, which we've done in the past, and the first name they mention about our squad, it's always Stuart Downing. Fantastic footballer. Yeah. You know what I mean, James? His reputation is massive.
And I don't know, Stewie probably wouldn't want this, but I think he can have a really good effect on games coming off the bench. Yeah. And I think he can have a really positive effect, maybe rather than starting games. Yeah. If he's someone you bring on after the hour mark or whatever, because I think then when maybe teams are tiring, he can pick a pass out. He takes up good positions. And like I say, almost did sneak the game for us on Saturday with that ball in for Howson when we nearly won it right at the death.
Well, we'll most probably find out what state of mind Pulis is in on Saturday, because I believe, or is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow's
Ipswich, Clayton suspended.
He's had 5 bookings.
So tomorrow we'll find out how much bottle he's got and how much he wants to go for it, whether he brings Wing or Tav into the first team squad. Do you know what I mean?
No, like I say, I think again, because obviously said the other day in his press conference, there's going to be a lot of change to the team, so we might see a whole different sort of midfield tomorrow if Clayton's out. Do you think it's easier to play the likes of Tav and Wing in a home game rather than an away game, or do you think it doesn't really make any odds?
Well, like you say, with the youth, but we keep saying youth, how old's Fletcher now? Do you know what I mean? We paid £6.5 million for him.
Yeah, he's played in the Premier League.
One of the most expensive players in that league. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And he should be playing. Yeah. You know what I mean? £6.5 million.
I like him as well. I like Fletcher. I do, and I think he's a really good footballer.
Well, that goal the other night was a fantastic goal. How he took it wasn't there. It was on a plate for him. No, he then had to hold the defender off, take it round the keeper. He showed a lot of composure to do that, didn't he?
He did, and like I say, as soon as he hit the back of the net, I started celebrating, got told to calm down by a few fans. But you've got to celebrate a good goal.
Yeah, of course you do.
And I just thought, I've seen these kids, everyone, and I just think there's 3 individuals for me that need to be, if not starting, at least on the bench. That's Fletcher, Tav and Wing. I don't know, especially Tav and Wing. I don't know what them lads have got to do in order to say the purists have got on me. I'm playing, I'm scoring, I'm creating. What do I have to do to get in the team?
Yeah, and I think with each passing week, Guesty, the cries for the fans to see these players introduced is only going to get louder and louder, isn't it?
Yeah. Because like you say, on every forum, it's people are saying what they want to see. You know what I mean?
And like I say, they're doing well in the league still, don't get me wrong. We're in 3rd position. We're only a point off the top. Yeah. But you still feel as though there's so much more that we can deliver and produce, don't you?
We're 1 point off what they say, 2 points. 2 points a game and you should get promoted. So we're only 1 point off that at the moment. But it's what you're physically watching as a fan. Yeah. And that's a disappointing part about it, you know what I mean? Yeah. The table looks nice at the end of the day, but it's the middle bit of the day where you've had to go watch the football. That's spoiling it at the moment. It's only the table that's making it look good.
Before we move on from the whole game, last thing we'll talk about is obviously Hull's equaliser, the penalty. What did you make of Darren England, the referee's decision? Did you think it was a penalty, having watched it back, or do you think, well, do you know what? What do you make of AJ?
It looks like, and I ain't being biased when I say it, I've watched it a couple of times back, and I might be wrong. It looks like Ayala's obviously put his leg there, and it looks like he's come across him, Chris Martin, sort of lunged into him.
He's knows
what he's doing. He's experienced in that league. He knows exactly what he's doing how to get the penalty, and that's what it looks like. It doesn't look like Ayala makes any sort of contact, apart from when he lunges into an Ayala. That's, you know.
Ayala's done what Ayala always does. He's given the referee the opportunity to make a decision. And if he's missed the handball earlier on and not give it...
That's it, because I think it came so quickly after that, and the referee's thinking, well, hang on, have I missed something here? Well, I'll give this one instead.
Even if the striker's backing into you, you hold your ground. And if he's stuck his leg out, he's given him the opportunity to go down and the opportunity for the ref to make a decision. So... You know what I mean? So if it was at our end, we'd have won.
Oh, we would. Yeah.
Well, ref went down towards the end.
Yeah, after that, yeah.
He sort of got, well, people saying he fell down. I thought he got took down personally.
I'll tell you what is concerning, is how easy Ugle goes down sometimes.
Yeah,
That you need to cut that out. You know what I mean? He's a big, strong lad, and he's getting tickled on the back, and he's going down.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned that, didn't you, in the first half? And you said to me,
he's going down too easy. But
there we go. So that's another season of Hull, hell and happiness done for Humberside for us lads, hopefully, unless we're there in the FA Cup in January. So tomorrow night, it's just a matter of a short trip to Portman Road, Ipswich, a nice little midweek sorted down to Suffolk.
We're setting off in a bit, already.
Well, as soon as the show's finished, we're off ski, another struggling side we're going to play. The Tractor Boys. They haven't won in 10 games yet this season. But in their 5 home games, they haven't lost either. They've drawn all 5 at home.
And they've drawn the last 3, isn't it? Home and away.
And it's never an easy place for us to go. I think we've won there twice in 25 years. So, on that happy note, what are you expecting tomorrow night?
Listen, their win's going to come at some
12
point.
to 1, they are.
12-1.
Get a fiver on it, AJ.
Thing is, for this, I think a few months
Rob there, in the money.
But I just, you look at Ipswich, obviously Wagon's gone, who was kind of like their fireman man from last season at times. You just feel like it's the Boro thing to do, isn't it? And Ipswich haven't won all season. Boro go there tomorrow. It could be the worst case scenario, but at the same time, I just feel like, today I heard someone say to me, if Boro go there for a point tomorrow, it's great. And I thought, no. We have to go there tomorrow. We have to attack and we have to win.
I think more so after Saturday, after you've got a point at Hull, I was really ideally looking for 4 points from these 2 away games as a minimum, really. So that now puts the pressure on tomorrow night, doesn't it, Guesty?
Yeah, you want to be looking at 4 points from these 2 away games. So, But like you say, you're away from home, you're going to come under the cosh now and again.
Yeah, cosh you are.
But we do need... We keep going back. We do need that outlet. We need to get the ball up that field, not Pulis style, because like Bernie Slaven was on this stage Friday night, and he reckons it's a myth about Pulis, about this Pulis ball. I agree with him up until September, but at the moment we just need to get the ball up the park as quick as possible because there's nothing creative in the midfield, so just miss them out.
Go on, Rob.
Do you think we're suffering from the opposite problem last season? Where we're doing better against the teams around us, but can't break this.
That's a fair point,
Teams that are not in form.
Yeah, because last season, we were great against the teams at the bottom. We beat nearly all of them, didn't we? Home and away.
But are we that good? Are we that good? Like you say, these teams that aren't in form. Bristol City, Sheffield United, Norwich. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
these teams we've played.
Sheffield United and Bristol City went on a
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We're beating, basically. We're beating form teams.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Norwich beat us 1-0. We were all wamping and whinging. They're 2 points behind us. Or whatever, you know what I mean? So we've been coming up against, in my eyes, we've been coming up against form teams, which against teams in and around us already. We go to Ipswich, they haven't lost a game for 3 games. They haven't been, beat at home. We're going there tomorrow thinking the bottom of the league or whatever. They haven't won a game, but
it's dangerous, isn't it? Because there's going to come times in that game tomorrow night where we will come under pressure, won't we? And like I say, I know they are in the bottom 3 at the minute, but Tony Pulis came out at the weekend and he said there's no easy games in the Championship, and I've got to agree with that because there isn't. It doesn't matter who you play. You might expect a win there, but there's no guarantee. I mean, you look at some of the results so far this season as well.
How many draws was there Saturday? That just shows you how tight the league is.
Disappointing to go there tomorrow though and not get a result.
A result tomorrow, a point, is good enough. It's the manner in which we
Is
gain.
a point good enough though?
It's in the manner which we gain that point. Of course, it's away from home.
If we give 100% tomorrow and come with a point, then I'd be
AJ.
happy. No, but
AJ, you know my argument on that? The professional footballers give it 100% every week.
Sorry,
I can't disagree, but I can't say a professional footballer doesn't give it 100% every game.
I'll be honest, I don't think there's been many times I've watched the Boro this season that I've come away thinking they've not put a shift in. I think it's just sometimes there's a little bit of a lack of quality in there in the team, or there's a lack of lack of creativity in that team. I think lads are trying the best they can.
On Saturday, I thought they would give 100%.
You can be over trying, like I think it was Shotton at Swansea where he was sending them in like Stewie Ripley did when he first started playing for the Boro around the back of the general.
Oh, you mean
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because he was over trying, but he you know.
I just think there was a lack of urgency.
Yes, I think that's the word from Saturday's game. Urgency, because I think the onus was on us because you could see how Hull set up. They were saying, right, come and break us down, and we just didn't have the tools at our disposal to do that on Saturday.
And obviously, if you dress like leagues, you're going to fall apart.
Well, we're going to talk about that kit in a minute. Yeah, but obviously, Ipswich, new manager Paul Hurst. He was at Shrewsbury last year, so he's new manager to the Championship. Now, a player that we all saw pre-season, Caden Jackson, played for Accrington against the Boro, and he was really impressive that day.
He was amazing.
He'll be up front for Ipswich tomorrow night. And he's one to keep an eye on, isn't he?
I believe that day as well, he was, Tony Pulis was asked to have a look at him. He was immense. He was absolutely immense.
He ran the show for them, didn't he, on that side? He's a great player, a lot of pace in him. He's a very, very good player.
He tortured boys, like you say. He's tortured Shotton, absolutely.
I'd have liked to have seen him at the Boro.
1.5 million is what he went for.
The value of him as well.
Yeah. Do you think he'd have got game time if he'd have signed for us, Rob?
To be honest, mate, he's one of them signings where I genuinely wouldn't care, even if he went straight back out on loan, because he's going to be a good player. No, I think that's a good shout. Yeah. I mean, they've got seasoned pros like Cole Skews, who used to be at Bristol City. He's there.
Is that Freddie Sears still there?
Freddie Sears, Jonas Knutsen, who we nearly signed in the summer, the Danish lad. So they've got players in their team.
Decent players.
I mean, it's Freddie Sears, if he turns up, whatever mode he's in, he can take any team apart.
He scored last season, didn't he?
He's really
good. Like I say, it's only 4 or 5 months since we were last there for the last game of the season. We needed a Paddy Bamford last-minute equaliser to get a point there. So
Jack Harrison assist.
Yeah. Well, that won't be happening tomorrow night, will it? But it's going to be another test, isn't it?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's going to be a test. But like I say, man, it's all about us turning up and just giving it a go.
Yeah. So you think if we're on our game, we turn up, we get 3 points,
and we turn up and we attack them, and I mean, listen, if it's
of course we're going to attack it. Every team wants to attack. If Ipswich don't allow us to attack, we can't attack.
If it's anything like Saturday, if our first half performance of Saturday goes into tomorrow, Ipswich will run all over us. That's the truth.
Right, Tony Pulis, we don't go out there and think, right, we're not going to attack. We go out every game. We go out there with a structure.
Mentality,
to attack,
innit? The mentality.
Right? But if they're putting, like we do, if they're putting 5, 6, 7 across the back, across the edge of the penalty area, it's up to you to break them down. And that's where there's discussions earlier on where we do need that creativity to break these teams down.
Not playing the play with the whip.
I want us to go out and attack. But it's not always like that, AJ.
No, listen, I get that, but I'm saying, tomorrow,
you think the players
we
are
have to be a lot better than Saturday.
We haven't got the players.
Saturday was a write-off, in my opinion.
But we haven't got the players to go bang, 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 keep at them. We haven't got the players to do that, mate. To just keep attacking. We haven't got the players.
Was more the fact that we just let them have the ball and play with it.
You let a professional footballer have the ball too long, he's going to hurt you.
Yeah.
And we're doing that every week.
Yeah, well, that's my problem as well. We're just leaving them. If they've got the ball, even up to the halfway line, we just let them
you can pass it in front of you all day at the halfway line, but if you're letting them have possession just outside your box, which a lot of teams do now, you're going to get hurt. You know what I mean?
Well, you can't do anything if you don't have the ball,
if you can't. You've got no effect on the game whatsoever.
In August, we chased them down. This month, we're not.
Yeah, and I think some of that's down to some of the players that are in the team or are not in the team at the minute, maybe. Yeah. Anyone from
full
the viewers?
strength tomorrow from him. Hey, what's that, mate?
Yeah, anything more from the viewers, mate? No, you're right.
Someone said hashtag the Monday Night Club from store starting. Dean Chetwood, Telford Teesside, said we have to put a performance in every game. Anyone can beat anyone in this league.
True.
Keane said, what's your thoughts on the attendances?
Well, I think if you look around a lot of clubs, I was looking at a stat at the weekend which said I think the top 6 attendances in the Championship averages, I think Sheffield Wednesday are the 6th highest average with 22,000. I'm thinking that's low, that for a top, and we're not even in the top 6 in terms of averages. I think Leeds are top, then Villa, and I think a lot of it will come down to your pricing. It's a lot of money to pay. Midweek games now, you're going to see the attendances drop because all the games are live on Sky, aren't they? Yeah. Every single Championship game's live on Sky.
I asked a rival channel the same question last week. Are they concerned about the attendances at the Riverside? And they seem to think it's the norm, 21, but I don't. I think that's poor, me. Second in the league.
Yeah, I think when I certainly think if it's still like that after Christmas, I would be very concerned.
What made me cringe on Saturday was watching the guy on Sport Sky who covers the Championship, the kid who used to play for Brighton, and he said, "I love the red button," and I'm thinking that's going to be the death of the Championship. Yeah. That red button.
It is these midweek games now. Yeah.
All your 5 o'clock games, they'll just keep moving the game so they're not 3 o'clock on a Saturday. Yeah. Bang, red button.
Well, we've got a game again midweek later this month now against Rotherham midweek. You know that'll struggle to get 20,000, which really it shouldn't.
It's taken off attendances.
But yeah, when you're asking people to pay a minimum of £30 a ticket and they can watch it at home, what are they going to do?
Dean Chetwood made a good point here just now. And he said we set up to who. Let me say again. We set up to who we are playing. If it doesn't work, we need to be able to adapt.
Yeah. The professional footballers should adapt, but how many people come out and say he hasn't got a plan B?
Yeah.
Well, I think we've seen lots of plans in lots
of the main example of that.
I think we've seen lots of different formations within one game in a number of games this season. They've tried lots of different things, but I think it comes down a little bit to the personnel, doesn't it? Yeah. It's the players we've got, and certain players we're missing a little bit.
Don't forget we've got Saville coming in, and he's been a regular since he's come in, so he's not quite up to speed.
We should sign Jota in January.
Pardon?
Jota, Jota from Birmingham.
We will.
There's a lot of comments coming in saying that Boro should sign him.
Yeah, because just before he went to Birmingham, he was supposed we were in for him. He chose to go to play for the Cockney Smith, didn't he? He went to play for Harry, rather than come here.
I think that's the encouraging thing in a way for me, that Tony Pulis came out the press conference, and he's no fool. He's a wise man when it comes to football in terms of he's been round the block, he knows what's needed, and he said, I know I need 1 or 2 players. The disappointment for me is that we didn't get them in the transfer window. That's where hopefully it won't cost us in the long run, and if we're still in the top 6 and round about come January, I think we've got a great chance of going up, and a lot of it will be down to what Pulis can do and get the maximum out of this team now.
Do you think our recruiting team will be out pursuing these players now to make sure that this happens in January, or is it going to be January?
They should know.
Another is he? Isn't he? Is it? Do you think it's going to be that scenario again?
They should know for me now who are their targets.
What's Adoma doing at Villa at the moment?
He's playing. He's starting games, which I'm surprised at. I mean, that's a funny thing. Before we finish off, I'll look at the Forest game Saturday. Aston Villa. Steve Bruce the other night, they drew at Bristol City. The mid-table went, and their fans are saying, you're getting sacked in the morning. This is Villa fans that are singing this. Are you surprised by that, Guesty?
And he's coming out and saying that he's not enjoying managing Aston Villa anymore.
Well, that's a shock, isn't it?
You know what I mean? So
where did that come from?
That's just a recipe for disaster for me.
To be honest, we were saying Bruce out last season when we
went down there. They've never been happy with Bruce, I don't think.
Do you think that's maybe because of his connections to Birmingham City in the past, or do you think they're just thinking third season in the Championship? And
most probably, especially with the players that they've brought in. And they're only drawn games. You know what I mean?
I mean, they have got on paper one of the best squads in this division, haven't they?
Oh, especially with Tammy Abrams and
Balassi, Grealish.
Grealish, quality player.
And I've read another quote there, but I like Grealish. Is he the most overrated player in the Championship? That's been banded about.
You don't know what. With that lad, I mean, he is a great player, and he showed on his day, especially last season, towards the end of last season, what a good player he is. But when you know that a club like Tottenham came in with an offer to play Champions League football, to play with the players that you've got there at Tottenham, and then all of a sudden it's taken away from you at the last minute, it doesn't matter what you say about, I'm happy to sign a new contract with Aston Villa. If you know you've had the opportunity to go and play for Tottenham, be in the Champions League, it is going to affect you, isn't it?
Of course.
You only have to look at Barini, what it's done to him at Stoke, you know what I mean? He had that opportunity, and if for some reason it fell through.
So anyway, the weekend sees the second coming, the second return of Aitor Karanka with Nottingham Forest. He's been backed in the transfer squad again, transfer window this summer again, hasn't he? He had Lewis Grabham come in.
Who's scoring goals now.
Yeah, Joe Carvalho's come in. There's others. That's increased expectations amongst the former two-time European Cup winners. Last season we beat them here 2-0 in a pretty routine game in April, as I remember. So what are you expecting this weekend, AJ?
It won't be easy, mate.
No.
You know, we all know how he sets up.
Yeah.
Karanka, you know exactly what you're going to get with him.
Yeah. Rob's in the background giving it the old 0-0
I think that's what I said last season.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if it is, because you know, you know how he sets up.
Yeah.
Will he come here? Will he try and grind out for a 1-0? Maybe. Who knows?
He's been to Blackburn. They were struggling big time, and he's come away with a 2-2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they've got goals in their team now, AJ.
I don't think that he'd be angry with a point. If he came in and got a point, I don't think he'd be upset with that, would he?
And that's why there's probably as much pressure on tomorrow night, because if you think you know how difficult Saturday is going to be, and the likelihood of that maybe ending up in a draw, to maintain your place in the top 6, you need to really get at least 4 points from these next 2 games, don't you?
Absolutely.
And I think he's only been beat once, hasn't he, this season?
Very hard to beat a lot of draws, hasn't it? A heck of a lot of draws.
I think there's going to be needing some tactic changes, because Karanka likes to play the ball in his own half. We're not chasing the ball outside our own half, so is it just going to be 90 minutes of them passing the ball?
Mate. Yeah,
true.
You don't know.
That's it.
You know.
Yeah. Well,
we could be sat watching a 4-3.
Yeah, you don't know.
You never know in that championship.
Yeah.
I just think tomorrow has to be 3 points. Yeah. It has to be 3 points.
Right.
We can't go there tomorrow.
A point isn't a disaster, but I'm saying it's not a disaster because I haven't watched the game yet. You know what I mean? If we're winning 2-0 like Birmingham were on Saturday, and Ipswich bring it back, or Ipswich will win 2, you know, and we end up with a point that way, you're going to be
it just depends on the game, doesn't it? What happens in the 90 minutes?
But you start every game with a point, so you know, if you come home with what you started with,
that's true.
Right.
So then, lads, heads on the chopping block. These next 2 games, how many points are we going to take from Ipswich away, Forest at home?
6.
6.
I'll go 6. Yeah, I'll go 6.
You know what I mean? You can't go anything
2-1 tomorrow for me.
2-1 tomorrow night at Ipswich.
2-1 tomorrow, then 4-0 Saturday.
I don't know if we'll ever score 4 goals.
2-0 tomorrow. 2-0 tomorrow.
That would be a great result to win down there, 2-0. That would be an amazing result. Go on, Rob.
I'll go 3 points.
3 points. So we're going to get a defeat. We're going to lose one of them then.
Yeah.
Are you prepared to say which, or are you just going to stick with 3 points?
No. I think we'll get beat tomorrow.
Rob's still eating loads of paella. He still thinks Karanka's.
Aitor's number 1 fan.
We'll get beat tomorrow.
Right. So Rob's saying defeat then and win on Saturday against Forest.
As well. He said 4 points. You reckon?
4 I fancy 4 points, Phil. I'll go with 4. I think a draw tomorrow night.
Phil Conway.
I can't remember him.
I fancy a draw tomorrow night, and I think we'll sneak 1-0 past Forest on Saturday. So that's the predictions done. One final thing before we go tonight, lads. New shirt the team wore on Saturday. 3rd shirt, a limited edition top, which went on sale today at the club shop for £75.
Yeah.
What did you make of that? What do you make of that then, Guesty?
1,986.
Yeah, that's how many I've made. Yeah.
Nice shirt.
You like the shirt?
Don't like the colour.
There's been 1 or 2 comments about it being reminiscent of a certain team in West Yorkshire.
The only problem I have with it is it is a replica near enough of what Leeds are wearing. But if they put a red number on the back instead of a blue one, that's my only problem with it. If it's £75, it's £75. Right. People want to buy it, go buy it. You know, no one's trying to rip anybody off, because every football club, top club in the country, do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True
We're
enough.
the fans. We want to look like the players. We want to walk about in the same tops as the players. We want to collect the tops. So yeah, £75.
You think fair enough?
Absolute extortion, but people want to buy it.
I don't agree with it, man. I just don't agree with the price. Do you know what I mean? Especially in the area of Middlesbrough, where everyone's working hard and trying to provide for families and whatnot, and you're going to come out and charge people £75. I think it's disgraceful.
It's like you say, it's going to kids, families who have kids.
That's the point that hits me. Is
it's
kids, because kids desperately want to look like their heroes.
I just think I don't know.
But is it a collector's shirt, or you know?
Yeah, maybe it is, but you know, I just don't agree with it. 75. I just think it's turning the football, as we obviously discussing and whatnot. it's turned into a rich man's sport, and it's sad to see the way it's going, and that's the way I see it.
Man United had 3 shirts all the way through the 90s, and all these
the fact that when they came out on Saturday, I looked at it and I thought, don't look like them scumbags from bloody Yorkshire.
Yeah, but they're going to have to play in it at least another game.
Yeah, I don't think it's a one-off, is it?
It's going to be a representation of the worst one all I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I definitely think they'll play in it at least once or twice more this season. But yeah, like you say, it is a lot of money, and you've got Christmas not far away. We've had 2 new tops just come out in the last couple of months, which again, I don't think
like
that's
mums and dads. And
that's who you feel for, don't you? Because kids don't see how much it costs; they just want that top.
Because, like I said, I'm 55, and I seen it, I thought, oh, that's nice, I want that.
Yeah.
But then someone says 75 quid.
Yeah. Like that's it. We have wives that rein us in a little bit, don't we, mate? And say that you're not having that, and you're not getting.
I'll get the shorts in the sale.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Wait till March for 90% off.
Yeah, I don't think them tops will be coming down 90%.
No,
mate.
I can't see them. No.
Any more things before we go from the viewers, mate?
Yeah, a lot of people say it's a rip-off, and that's from a Norwich City fan. Got Patrick Wheatley, who said, well said A.J.T up the butter. Dean Chetwood has been here from the start of us. He said, nice shirt, but too expensive.
Yeah.
So it's mixed in. I think it's mixed in.
Yeah, but people are going to buy it. You know, these marketing people.
That's it. The club aren't putting it. They aren't putting a gun to people's head and saying you must buy this top. But it's as a football fan, like you say, you have an attachment to your club and you want certain things.
If you have, like you say, 2 lads, even 2 girls now, they all want to wear the Boro gear. So
just got some score breaks for tomorrow. Dean Chetwood 2-0 Boro tomorrow. Patrick says 2-0 Boro, 6 points.
A lot of positivity still.
CB Gaming Vlogs reckons we're going to get 2-0 tomorrow, 1-0 Saturday.
And that's it. I think that's great about Boro fans, isn't it? We are a little bit disappointed with 1 or 2 things recently, but we'll still back our team, won't we? And we're still hoping for the 6 points. We're still hoping that maybe by next weekend we're going to be top of the table. So there's still plenty to look forward to, isn't there? Plenty to look forward. Going to that international break, top of the league, that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Like you say, it just shows you. Look where West Brom are now.
Yeah.
You know, came to Riverside, beat them 1-0. Didn't look.
It's a long old season.
Didn't look anything like anything that
top of the
should
league
look like. But now they're sitting top of the league. So
it's a long old season, guys. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us on the show again tonight, lads.
Thanks for having us.
Enjoyed it. Enjoy the journey to Ipswich tomorrow. Be lots of contributions. Sadly, Foxy won't be joining us. Hope you're okay, mate. He'll be back hopefully very soon with us. Safe journey to everyone that's travelling to Ipswich tomorrow. Look out for the Boro Fan TV crew that'll be there. Keep up to date on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter with all the build-up of the Forest game at the weekend. And the lads will be there at the Riverside on Saturday again, so get your views in. We love all that. Until next week, guys, all the best and up the Boro.
Up the Boro.
Peace out.